So what do you think it is? If it's, do you think it's complacency that's beginning to cause the drawdown, or are you following your process or not following your process?
I'm following the process. It's just like some of the zones.
Mhm.
I'm following the methodology, but sometimes when I see a zone and it doesn't hold, and
Yeah.
then when we just started,
Mhm.
uh, I would look at the zone and it hold.
Mhm.
It's
So
kind
what
of
kind?
like
Yeah. Go on.
kind of like when you first start, it's
Mhm.
fresh, so I feel like we learned more than we need to know, or maybe I don't know.
Okay. Okay. But are you following the same process you were following, say, a month ago
Yes,
when you were killing it? It's the
yes,
same process you're following now.
yes.
So let's think through your last say couple of losing trades.
Okay.
Give me the pairs you traded. Let's look at your process.
AUD CAD was one that I lost.
And what time sequence were you looking at?
Daily, 4 hour, 1 hour.
Daily, 4 hour, 1 hour. 1 second. Let me load that up. Um, Might as well use this one. Um, Daily, 4 hour, 1 hour. Euro CAD, you said?
AUD CAD.
AUD CAD. So that's the daily. So talk me through. Shall I give you let me give you the thing as well. Oh, it doesn't allow
Okay.
me to share mouse control with you. Um, I'll pass on the presenter role to you,
Okay.
if that's all right, and you can um you can show me off of your chart. Did you see the request to you?
Yes.
Okay, so just click on it and you'll have presenter right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have to. I'm downloading the thing right now.
Okay, no worries. Okay. So, yes, so if you can you still hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so if you run me through what you were looking at. Um,
Okay. So I redid my analysis, but I took a short at 10061. So about here. So my analysis came from the. I'd start from the daily.
okay.
At the moment when I took the trade, it was
Mhm.
like this. So my
Mhm.
daily zone was here. That was the daily zone.
Take out the, is that probably the fib tool? Just remove it. It's confusing me a bit.
Okay.
Remove that one. Not, don't use the fib. Okay. So that was your daily.
Yes. At that time, and
Uh-huh.
so I went to the 4 hour to see the trend,
Uh-huh.
and at that time it was an uptrend
Okay.
from that
Yeah.
like this,
Okay.
and then I would go back. I would I would notice the trend, and then I would go down to the 1 hour,
Mhm.
and I would try to drill it down to a zone so that I can execute on, which was
So
this
so
zone right here.
so was that your supply zone? Was that a supply zone? Where was the
Uh,
actual zone you shorted?
okay, it was this one right here.
Okay.
The 0.6 right here.
Right there. Okay, yeah, I see that. Okay, so scrunch up the chart a bit. Scrunch the
Okay.
chart up so we can see where you entered. Yeah, move. Yeah, see if we can get it all in one screen. I want to see
Okay.
where you entered. No, no, scrunch it up on the. You entered on the 1 hour, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so scrunch it up on the 1 hour. Let's scrunch it up on your entry time frame. So you'll have to go left. Yeah, scrunch it up like that. Yeah, so let's see where you entered at. Okay. Now, so this is where you are entering right now, where your cursor is, that line, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think might, I don't know if you reviewed the trade already. If you haven't, we can do that together here now. But what do you think could have stopped you from taking this trade?
Could have been the momentum.
Momentum? Yeah. Anything else?
Uh, could have been the approach.
Exactly. So the approach is not great at all because right below the zone you were shorting at, you had a bunch of buyers.
Okay.
Right below. If you the second point of your trend line around 1.002, around there. Yes.
Okay.
So even if your short had worked, it would have probably worked temporarily, which might have even hurt a bit more because you would have been in a little bit of profit, but then you probably would have seen it come against you. So you didn't really have profit margin because the approach was not good.
Okay.
Which is what I tell the guys as well. Watch the approach. Make sure you have a profit margin. It's no profit margin, no trade. Now, this is obviously this is an excellent exercise going back over the trade. This is what you should do. Go back over your trade and look at, okay, so I've been stopped out. This is an expense. What can I learn from it? Which is what we're going through now. The approach on this trade wasn't good, number one. Number two, if you go back to the daily, so your analysis on the daily was, I think, was okay. I think that was fine. Yeah. Where was that daily zone again?
This one.
Yeah, big zone. But you'll see that also below you, you had um, buyers sitting below you. That little yellow, little green box you have there. Yeah, that area exactly. That area that you just had your cursor on. Yes. So those were the guys you were coming up against. Yeah, exactly. Those those buyers are the ones you as somebody shorting would be coming up against. If you even if your short had worked up in that little green box in the daily supply zone, you would have had issues here. So again, although you're entering on a smaller time frame, this profit margin as set out on the daily might not be as big a deal, but again, the approach into this daily supply is not great. Now, when you go to the 4 hour, so the actual trend line for the 4 hour is a little bit lower from about 98.76. That pivot low there, up a bit. No, no, go up, keep going up the price ladder, keep going up. There, there, yeah, no, one to the right, there. If you join it to the first point you joined your blue line to, yes, that would that would be the more accurate momentum line for the
Okay.
approach into the daily zone. So you had momentum up, price was in daily supply, and you needed evidence. Remember what I always tell you guys: get the evidence that what you expect to happen is beginning to happen, as against just shorting it because of the fact that you're in a daily supply zone. See the evidence of the opposing side of the equation coming in. In this case, when you were shorting, what you actually had right below you, look at this 4 hour set of buyers here, the second line of your first trend line in blue. the second point that you use to draw the blue trend line.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Look at them, compare that to where you were entering short. Do you see that? So you
Yeah.
were entering short at the black line above, right?
Yeah.
Around there, yeah. And look at what was right below you. That immediately should have been a big, big red flag. The
Okay.
fact that you had that conglomeration of buyers sitting there as because what's happened is if you think of it as a sort of a war, for example. So you had these buyers, one side of one and one army coming close. They're coming up close to their target, which is the supply zone that you have all the way to the left, the one you were shorting at.
Okay.
But instead of coming up rushing in with that big green candle, the one that you've used to join to start the trend line, can you put your cursor on it to make for me to make sure you know that big, yeah, that big green candle go up, keep going up, yeah, that big green one. Instead of them rushing in like that, what did they do? This army decided to base out just before, built themselves a base camp, fortified it, and then launched their attack from here. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
And so if they had rushed in with that big green candle, their supply lines would have been way back in that big green box. Exactly. So you would have had a better chance of beating them back because they would have been very far away from their supply line. But instead they came close, stopped short of your zone, built a basing camp, and then launched their attack. That's why they were able to bash through those cellar fortifications, if that makes sense. I like using war as an analogy a lot, but I think this is the way that I view it. So there were a lot of things going against taking this short, um, which I hope you can see now that we've gone through it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense to you? If
Yeah.
it doesn't, we can go over it again if you like.
It makes sense.
Okay. So just be mindful of that profit margin. No matter how good a zone looks, no matter how beautiful it is structurally or anything like that, if there is no profit margin to the opposing zone that could be in the way, scratch trade. Or
Okay.
at best, you would really have to manage it really, really, really tight, meaning moving stops like as soon as you can, uh, that kind of
Okay.
thing, which it might not be worth it at the end of the day. Yeah. What was the second trade?
Um, Another trade was, let's see. Uh, I lost one on AUD USD a while back.
Okay. Did you take the AUD USD we took today?
No,
You didn't get this short?
I don't know why, but when there's so many like lots of candles in one area, I'm not able to like distinguish which zones to take.
Okay. So, well, we can go through that in one of the sessions maybe at a later date, but th-
Okay.
this this was a pretty obvious short. Um, but we'll go through it again just to make sure you have the confidence to take them in future. Okay. So
Okay.
take
So
those out. Yeah, take those out.
all this.
I'll take all these fib lines and things. Take them all out. They're not useful for us anyway. Um, so
It was the 13th of September, so around here.
okay. Were you looking to go long, short?
I was looking to go long at that time.
Okay.
So my analysis at that moment was this is the daily.
Mhm. Which zone in particular? The one to the left?
Yes.
That one? Okay.
Yeah.
and you were looking to enter around all the way to the right?
Yes, around here. It was 75.10.
Okay. And you enter
So
you prefer to enter on the hourly chart, don't you?
yes,
Okay.
75.10. So entered a bit too high actually, right there.
So what date did you enter this?
The 13th,
So 13th was where?
the
So you
13th,
entered
right there.
so you entered just before the zone,
Yes,
or a second attempt into the zone, because it looks like it came in on the 12th to start with. Yeah, that
yeah.
one. And then so tell me why you were entering that second one and not the first one.
This one I tried to use confirmation.
Going down as low as what, a 5 or
The 1
15?
hour.
So was it a 1 hour confirmation inside a day, a 1 hour confirmation inside a daily demand zone?
It was next to a daily demand.
Okay, so was that the zone then, the 60-minute zone you were trying to get
Yes.
confirmation at?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you see about that zone? The one, draw a little box around the zone you were looking to enter at. So what's the first thing that jumps out at you about the zone you were entering at? So that was your entry, right? Where your cursor is right now. Go back to the right.
Yeah.
Was that your entry?
Yes. Around here.
Okay. Okay. So what do you see about the zone you were entering at? The one to the
Well,
left.
now I notice that there's a profit, like sellers right there.
Yeah, that's number one. But even about the zone itself, yeah, you're correct about the profit margin there, but that's not even the primary issue with that, with your entry.
Okay.
The fact, what about the wick that goes into that zone? Two candles after the zone. Yeah, that one. That's the first test. And then what about the test later on, all the way to that one? That's the second test into your zone. So you were entering a third test into the zone.
Okay.
Never a good proposition, my friend. Because with each return to that zone, what's happening to the what do you think is happening to the buy
The
orders in that
orders,
zone?
they're
Yeah,
getting they're getting used up.
exactly, exactly. Particularly the fact that in fact, we've had three. If you look at even right after the first green candle, the second candle, that one almost touched. It looks like it just barely missed the zone. So at the least, we've had a couple of touches. At the most, three touches into that zone. It's very hard to see how there would be much in the way of buy orders left there. Remember what we say, that we want fresh zones. The
Yes.
reason for fresh is because the orders are untouched. The minute you start getting pullbacks into the zone, orders are being removed, and the chances of getting a big enough bounce to give you a profit margin are getting less and less. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So tell me why you didn't continue watching this, continuing to look for an entry, seeing that you were still inside the daily zone.
It was
Because I
because
can.
all of this,
Uh huh.
I thought that this could be a zone, but it was very muddy. It was
Yeah,
very
yeah. But what about all the way to the right? I see an entry here already.
this
No, no, to the left.
here.
That, that, that zone. You know why my eye went straight to that zone? Tell me why you think my eye went straight to that zone.
Is it because of the move out?
Bingo, bingo, bingo.
Okay.
Don't look for the basing first. Look for the big moves.
Okay.
And look at that. Look at the move away now. And all this from a 60-minute demand zone that you've just identified now, inside a daily demand zone. Price leaves it, pulls back into it. Good night, Irene.
Makes sense.
You see what I mean? Now
Yeah.
compare this zone to the one you were taking. You see how fresh this one is from the time that big green candle left it? Anything
Yeah.
come back to it till your entry? No. You see that?
Yeah.
So it's on the analysis side more that I think these trades have not succeeded at. It's on the side of the analysis.
I think also I've been having trouble finding trades.
Okay, so
It
tell
might
me.
be because of the big moves. I'm not looking for the big moves. I'm actually just looking for orange candles.
See, this is why. Well, remember what I told you when you first started putting these orange candles on that the risk with doing that before you get good at this is because all you're going to be looking for are orange candles.
Yeah.
You you want to be able. You don't need those 50% candles. Sometimes there will be a major hindrance um, to you. Train your
Okay.
eye first to look for the big moves. You when you find those, then the green candles will fade into non-existence. Find
Okay.
the big moves first. I mean, look at the big move on the right here from when it touched this demand zone in green. No, to the right, all the way to the right. Yeah, look at the green candles that leave the test, the ones that go up to the right. Yeah, all these go down, all these green candles going, all of them.
Yeah.
So immediately you see that, you have to understand that there must be demand where these green candles started from. So there's another demand zone now created based off of the test. Yeah, all of that kind of, yeah, that sort of range. Have we had price come back to that yet? You want to scrunch up the charts? Let's take a look. See if anything's come back. Yeah, let's see if prices come back there yet. Not yet. Okay, so that's a zone that might be interesting, many days from now if prices do come back. But you'd have to do another top-down analysis to see if that daily zone is still worth taking by the time prices if prices do start to approach this area.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's on the analysis. I like the fact that you're using um the time sequence you've chosen, and you're sticking to those. You know what to do on each specific chart. Um, as we've talked about many times, it's now honing your skill in identifying the zones, and that's just from repetition, looking at this big move. Where did it originate from? So we've just found that it originated from this demand zone that we have in green here. It's identifying those kinds of moves and looking where did they originate from. Going back and looking at the trades like we've done now that have worked and those that haven't worked. Even the ones that worked, why did they work? Which zone? How did I identify the zone that caused the big move that I made money off of? And in this case, the one that didn't work, why didn't it? Which is what we've just gone through now. So freshness, profit margin, big, big, huge um, 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 factors to be mindful of.
Okay.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
yeah. So, but overall, you've been doing good. You've been making a bit of money and working hard, which is necessary. So just keep doing that and send me some charts by email. Let's do that again like we've done before. The top-down analysis for pick any pair that you want or any um any asset class. Just do top-down analysis and we can discuss it and see if you're on the right track again. But in the meantime, until you get out of this funk, better to trade if you're going to trade at all, smaller size, like I was telling Shaheen, until you get out of the funk, trade smaller size if you trade at all. Better to even see if you can take maybe a day, a week, whatever suits you. Clear your head, get some perspective, and then come back um, looking at the charts again.
Okay.
Because what you don't want is for this to start messing with your head. It's always good to take a break, especially when you're finding it a bit tricky.
Okay.
Yeah. So send me a couple of charts whenever you can over the next few days. Let's
Okay,
let's refine that top-down analysis.
sounds good.
All right. Okay. Any other questions?
No, thank you.
No worries, man. No worries. You take care of yourself now.
You too.
All right.